Hi, I'm Doug from Amen Moto, and today I'm going to talk about balance. Not this kind of balance. We're going to talk about balancing a tire. Stay tuned. So what's the big deal about balancing a motorcycle tire? You can just basically pull the wheel and axle off the bike and balance the bike on the axle that comes with the motorcycle. Get a couple of jack stands, spin it around, and be done with it. So what's the big deal? So here's the problem. What if you have a single-sided swing arm shaft drive motorcycle? How are you supposed to balance that? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I was reading through the BMW MOA forums, and there was a really good discussion about balancing tires on a motorcycle. And because of the GSs with a single-sided swing arm and a shaft drive, you might need some special tools. You do need some special tools to balance the rear tires. So one of the folks mentions this kit that you get from Marc Parnes out in California, M-A-R-C-P-A-R-N-E-S, and I'm sorry, Mark, if I mispronounced your last name. Sells this real high quality kit, and I think this is the BG12. Go to his site and make sure you get the right kit for your bike. If not, he'll ask you what you have if you don't tell him. So what you get is the steel beam and precision bearings mounted on an aluminum shaft with a flat spot, or aluminum case, I should say, with a flat spot on it, right? So that it can sit on any flat surface, which is neat, so it won't roll away on you. And then two precision cones that lock into the middle so that when you're balancing your front tire, you just slide the cones into the bearings, tighten everything up, set it on a table or jack stands, and do your balancing. But the real tricky part with this for my bike is the rear wheel, right? So you need a special hub adapter for these bikes, and he sells the hub adapter made specifically for the bike. So it's very important you tell him which bike that you have. But this is the hub adapter for the GS, and basically this just fits in, slides into the center of the hub like that, and then you lock it in with your little comes with little nylon no-mar washers that go in from the other side to lock the hub in. And now I'm ready to balance my rear tire. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll do a fake balance since this tire is balanced already, but we'll show what it takes to mount up and balance this tire. So I take my hub, and this is the hub available from Marc. And this is machine fit to be precisely in the very center of the hub. And then I put in my little locking studs, which just push against the edge of the wheel. These don't need to be on really hard, and again, they're nylon washers, and that's all it takes to mount this up. So it doesn't take a whole lot of pressure, but it fits very snugly the hub. You got to make sure the hub is in there centered and snugly put in there. Okay, and then the next step will be to put our balancing axle in. So these are just little caps that go on. Again, everything is just kind of fits together. It doesn't need to be real snug. So I'm going to take my two cones off. I got one bearing. I'm going to turn this cone around, put it in this way, and then we slide the axle through the assembly. We'll spin this around. We'll put our other cone on backwards. We want to get the shaft centered on the wheel. Bearing goes on, cap goes on, and we're good to balance. That's basically what it looks like. Okay, I think we're pretty centered. Let's go ahead and get this mounted up on a set of jack stands. So here we go. We've got the whole contraption set up now. I've got two jack stands. I've got them set at the same height on both sides so that they're level. They're high enough so that the tire doesn't touch the jack stand as it spins around. I've got my balancing system set up on the top. I've got my bearing blocks set on the jack stands, and it looks good to go. I can spin the wheel. It doesn't wobble at all. So I'm good to check the balance now. So today's tires are pretty balanced from the factory, and generally doesn't take a lot of weight to balance a tire on a rim. But because we have these tire pressure monitoring system electronics inside the rim, that's going to create a heavy spot. So normally on an unbalanced rim, you're going to find right away that your heavy spot's going to be down at the TPMS. Now you'll notice that this tire is already balanced, right? So in theory, I should be okay. I shouldn't have to balance this tire. Got maybe 4,000 miles on this tire, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to hold on to it and just let it spin. You can see that this tire is not balanced anymore. Right? You can see it's working its way to the heavy spot on the bottom. Right? And if I go past that spot, I'll hold it, make sure I hold it still. You can see it's coming back, right? So pretty definitely not balanced right now. So we know that my heavy spot is right about here, now at the bottom of the tire. So we're going to want to add weight to the opposite side. So I'm going to put a finger up on the opposite side, spin that around. And that's where we want to add weight, right in here, okay? So the question is, how much weight do we add? Well, I'll just take some of my weights, and I believe these are in 5-gram increments, and I'll add 1 or 2. So let's just put 1 here in this spot and see if it balances. And just let it go a little bit. You can see it's spinning already. So it's still a little bit off. I'll go past it a little bit. We'll go over to this side. See if it comes back around the other way. Still a little bit off. Not a whole lot, but it's still a little bit off. Right? So we need a little more weight than that. So we'll try 2. So we'll put 2 on there. I'll just go past center a little bit here. That looks pretty good. Come over on this side a little bit. That looks really good. So we're going to add 2 more grams of weight. And again, this was a balanced tire already. This felt okay to me, but it wasn't perfect. So let's go ahead and mount those 2 weights up, and then we'll check it one more time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stick these 2 new weights down. So I'm just going to take some alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and we're going to clean that spot off a little bit. Make sure we get good stick. See my wheel moving around already. Okay, we'll stick that down. Okay, so we added 10 grams. And so now I should be able to put it in any position and it should stay. So still off a little bit. We'll try adding, we'll just put 1 more weight on there just to see what happens. That's looking pretty good. Yep, not getting much movement at all. So we'll put 1 more weight on there and then we'll spin it around some more. Okay, so now we can see we've got the wheel weight stuck down, and we're going to check final balance. And what we want to do is be able to, ultimately, is to be able to position this tire and wheel in any position and it won't turn. So it is slightly, so there's still just a little bit out. Check it again. Moving very, 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 very slightly. Check here. See, it's still moving a little bit, but we're so close now. I'm not going to bother to try to get it perfect. I would never feel that. So pretty much we can put the wheel in any position and it will stay there. So that's it. We've got this wheel and tire combination in pretty good balance. Let's go do the front. All right, now we could balance the front wheel by using the stock axle that comes with it, but due to the dust seals and how heavily greased the bearings are, although it's a good bearing, it doesn't turn very freely, right? It has a little bit of resistance because of the grease in it and things like that. So that's, again, that's where the Marc Parnes device comes in handy. So we're going to mount up this guy inside the front. So let's do that now. Okay, so our front tire has the same number of miles on it that the rear tire does. So I'm going to go through the process of checking it too. And the process is a little different because we don't have to use the rear hub. We just use the balancer with the cones turned inward this time. Right, so we'll make sure that this is snug down. Took the stock axle out, push the balancer through, put a cone on. I'm going to push these together really tight and make sure that this is secure. Got to make sure that those are on there very securely. The bearing block goes on. Then our cap. Pull the bearings out, make sure the bearings are extended, and we're going to hang this on our jack stands. All right, so now we'll do the whole spin thing and make sure that that this tire is also in balance. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that you want to make sure that there's no large pieces of rubber or dirt or anything like that stuck inside the rim, because that will affect the balance of the rim too. Okay, so we're going to go through the same spin routine, and normally tire pressure monitoring systems will be heavy and on the heavy side. And it looks it's still that way, so we're just going to kind of clock this around at 90 degrees. So it looks like it's still off a little bit. I'm going to keep clocking it and see where my old weights are right here. Moving very slightly, but it's that looks pretty good. So I still think I got a little bit of a balance issue. Okay, I would say the heavy side is right there. Yeah, right there. So we go opposite of that, which is right at the wheel weights. We bring that down. We're not too far off, just a little bit. I'm going to try adding one block. We're going to add one right there. It's not off by much, but you'll notice a front tire being out of balance more than a rear tire. Okay, so that one's mounted up. Still spinning. That was our heavy spot. That's about how close we were on the rear tire, so I think that's pretty good. So I'll stick with that. Again, this is a tire with about 4,000 miles on it, so it was off by a little bit. Well, that wraps up our video on the Marc Parnes wheel balancing kit. This one made specifically for the R1200 GS. Great piece of kit. A lot of precision machine work put in there. The bearings used on the beam are high precision. Great kit, worked great for me. Finding out that my wheels and tires that I thought were balanced actually were not, so very cool. But the key to all of this, if you have a shaft drive swing arm bike, a single-sided swing arm bike, is that you can't balance a rear wheel without this piece. This is the key piece here. And this piece has to fit exactly in the center of these wheels. So it is hub-centric, and these pieces are different depending on the bike you have. So when you order from him, if you have any questions, just make sure you tell him the bike, the year of the bike and the model make, and he'll make sure that he gets you the right hub kit for these. But it worked great. No complaints at all. We're going to go put this all back together on the bike and try it out. So I want to thank everyone for watching. You can also see me on Amen Moto, AMEN Moto.com, where we ride this stuff.